Hello, I'm Zheng and I'm here with.
Johannes Gutenberg.
Okay, Johannes. Why are you important to world history?
I helped society transition into the next time period. My invention allowed for the mass production of books, money, and anything paper that was printed. Without me, newspapers wouldn't be a part of society unless somebody else made a discovery like I did. I allowed Martin Luther to produce pamphlets, which in turn allowed him to express his thoughts on the clergy's abuse, influencing people to speak out and end the church's supremacy. In fact, my invention was so revolutionary that it's used as a reference model for 21st century printing presses. Why do you think you're essential to society?
For me, I traveled on several voyages, 7 in fact, which helped to expand China diplomatically, militarily, and economically. But if I can ask, how are you able to create your invention?
Well, several inventions really set the stage for me, most of them from China. I'd say, however, the most essential ones were the invention of paper and block printing on wood. Paper had been around for a while near 100 BC before people took notice of it. In fact, the first paper industry began around 105 AD, nearly 200 years after it was first invented. People traveled to Spain in the 12th century and spread to Europe from there. Block printing has a similar history, but there are some major differences. Block printing had been around in China since 600. The first technique of printing was hard and took several days. The next one was a lot more efficient and took hours instead. Block printing traveled to Europe in 1250 to 1350, which was then that I could make the printing press.
Oh, interesting. I was actually born in the Yunnan province in China. When the Ming Dynasty took over, I was just a child and I was taken prisoner and castrated, which wasn't a lot of fun, but I was placed in their army. I served under the 4th Prince of the Ming, Yongle, who would come into power in 1402, and I would become one of the most powerful eunuchs. And because of that, I was able to rise in the ranks and be able to be in charge of the voyages that he had asked for. I was actually one of the first eunuchs to become an admiral. So it was beneficial for me to have been placed under the 4th Prince. I know you told me about the inventions in China that had been years before our time that helped you create the printing press, but I'd like to know some of the techniques that developed during this time.
Well, I manifested a technique of using oil-based ink instead of water-based. This made sure that less ink evaporated, therefore showing up better on paper. Oil-based inks could transfer easily from metal to paper. Before me, books had to be handwritten, and hand-carved wooden blocks were needed for anything and everything else. My partnerships also made the printing press possible because they lent me money for my inventions. The travel of block printing in the 12th century was the foundation my press was built on. Some would say I just reinvented an older model. Even though I find these claims intrepidly idiotic and heinously false, I did need to see the waves of block printing techniques to protect my press. I heard you did something with tribute trade. Can you tell me what it is and what impact you had on it?
When I went on those voyages, I had to interact with the courts of those countries. We offered them gifts in order to show good relations, and they were pleased with my diplomacy because I am of Muslim faith, and they offered gifts for the emperor. I even brought a giraffe once.
A giraffe?
Yeah. And this was a practice that I had started when interacting with foreign countries, and it lasted up until the 19th century, most notably during the Qing Dynasty, which I died before then.
This has been a very interesting interview. Thank you for having me.
I can say the same for you. It has been an honor. I hope we can meet again sometime soon.